You're 60 and living in Santa Barbara, downsizing is not just about moving, it's about protecting your equity, reducing stress, and making sure that you don't accidentally trigger unnecessary capital gains taxes. So, in this video, I'm going to break down exactly how senior downsizing in Santa Barbara works in 2026, including the costs, the timing, the tax strategy, and where most retirees are choosing to move after selling their home. So if you're thinking about downsizing in Santa Barbara, this guide will help you approach the process strategically instead of reactively. Hi, I'm Melissa Tierney. I am a realtor and certified Keller Williams real estate planner, senior transition specialist here in Santa Barbara, and I help seniors and their families to build, protect, and transfer generational wealth through their real estate. Over the years, I've worked with many homeowners who have lived in their Santa Barbara homes for 20, 30, even 40 years or more. And when it comes time to downsize, it's rarely just a real estate decision. It's a financial, emotional, decision and often tied to estate planning. And I see a lot of people kind of take different paths, but what I do want to impress is that when done correctly, downsizing can be one of the most strategic financial decisions a homeowner makes. So let's start with why seniors choose to downsize in Santa Barbara in the first place. The first reason I hear a lot of maintenance fatigue, essentially, and a large home that once worked perfectly for a growing family can start to feel overwhelming. Landscaping, repairs, cleaning, and upkeep, they all add up. And another factor is liquidity. Many Santa Barbara homeowners are sitting on substantial equity. It's not uncommon for someone who purchased their home decades ago to have a million or more in untapped equity. So downsizing allows them to convert that equity into resources that help support retirement, travel, or long-term care planning. There's also a strong desire for simplicity. Many people want a home that's easier to maintain, single level living, less square footage, and fewer responsibilities. And finally, there's that estate planning alignment. Many families realize that proactively downsizing and organizing assets can make things significantly easier for their children and beneficiaries later on. I often tell clients that proactive planning is almost always less expensive and less stressful than reacting during a crisis. One of the most important questions people ask is, well, what does it actually cost to downsize in Santa Barbara? And so let's walk through the major categories. First, there are the real estate transaction costs, which typically include not just brokerage commissions, but escrow related fees, closing costs, all the things. Then there are the preparation costs. Depending on the size of the home, many sellers invest in light renovations, painting, landscaping, or even some staging to maximize the sale price of the home. And in Santa Barbara's market, strategic preparation very often increases a home's value significantly. I see that a lot. Next, there are the moving and the transition costs. That can often include movers, temporary storage, or the one that I recommend for downsizing is working with a senior move manager who is a member of the National Association of Senior Move Managers. They are the ones who help sort and organize belongings, stuff that have accumulated over decades. I have an enormous Rolodex full of them. Get in touch with me if you need a recommendation. They are worth their weight in gold. So if someone is moving into a senior living community, there may also be buy-in costs in addition to the monthly rental structures, depending on the type of community. And it's a whole new process and a whole new system that needs to be learned. And it's not something you want to take on while you're in crisis mode, just FYI. Finally, one of the most important considerations is capital gains exposure. And I have this conversation a lot with a lot of clients. For homeowners who have owned their property for many years, understanding the tax implications of selling is critical before selling the home. Now, the next question I hear is, well, where do people actually move after downsizing in Santa Barbara? And there are several common paths. One, some homeowners move into the condominiums or smaller residences in Montecito where they can maintain that Santa Barbara lifestyle with less maintenance. Others relocate to single level homes in Goleta or nearby neighborhoods that offer a lot of accessibility and simplicity. Some choose, on that note, there are some 55 plus communities, both in Santa Barbara and Goleta, that offer that accessibility and simplicity that I just mentioned. Others go down the path of choosing a senior living community, which provides varying levels of independence, social engagement, and care support. Another path is total relocation. Some families move closer to grandchildren or children in other cities or states. Occasionally, homeowners explore investment strategies such as placing equity into passive real estate structures like a Delaware statutory trust. I see a lot of accredited investors going down that path. But really, each path depends on lifestyle, financial goals, and family considerations. So now let's talk about the financial side, which is often where strategic planning becomes critical. Many homeowners are eligible for the primary residence capital gains exclusion, which allows individuals to exclude up to 250,000 in gains or 500 for married couples if certain conditions are met. But if many Santa Barbara homes have appreciated significantly over time, it's not unusual for gains to exceed that threshold. And another important concept is the step up in basis, which can affect inherited property and estate planning strategies. If a home has been used as a rental property at any point, think Schedule E, there may also be depreciation recapture considerations. So definitely want to be talking with your CPA about that. If the property is owned by a trust, the sale process and decision-making structure may involve trustees and beneficiaries. This is why I often encourage clients to approach downsizing as a planning process, not just a transaction, because when you have your power team of 4, family CPA, family attorney, family financial planner, and family real estate planner, when we collaborate early, families can make much more informed decisions. There are a few mistakes I see families making repeatedly when it comes to downsizing, and the first one is being in wait and see mode. I see that a lot. We're just waiting and seeing what happens. Well, essentially, you're waiting until a crisis forces that decision. And when someone waits until health issues or other emergencies rise, the process becomes much more stressful. And the second mistake is selling without consulting the tax professionals beforehand, because understanding the financial implications before listing your property can significantly impact the final outcome. Another common mistake is underpricing valuable property, especially in the luxury segment of the Santa Barbara market. And finally, many people work with a transaction-focused agent rather than working with a planning-focused advisor. Downsizing involves so much more than simply listing a home for sale. If you're considering downsizing in Santa Barbara, the right strategy can make the difference between simply moving and building that long-term financial clarity. If this is something you or your family are thinking about, if it's on somebody's mind, schedule a strategy session with me using that link below. And in the next video, I will walk through exactly what it costs to downsize in Santa Barbara in 2026 so you can plan with real numbers. My contact info is below. I look forward to hearing from you.